Checking, test, check. Check, 573, 23. Can I, should I pop into the microphone a whole bunch? Piss off everyone at the AV. Thank everyone. We should have a round of applause for the AV guys right now. The ultimate in diagnosis is figuring out that your HDMI cable is the problem. I'm just going to do a real quick audio check since we were literally running around trying to figure that out. So this should not be loud, but I'd like to make sure that it's okay. Yeah, it's not too bad. Let's see if I'll turn this down a tiny bit. And you can't see anything, but you will later, I promise. Yeah, mic close. I should be right up in its face. All right, you'll see that demo in a minute. I won't jack this up too loud for the sake of the AV guys, but if we're watching something with thumping tunes, I'll turn it up so you can enjoy it. Welcome to the Demoscene 2022, Electric Boogaloo. I really can't see any hands, so I'm probably going to ask you to make noise instead of raise your hands or whatever. Who came to a previous Demoscene panel? All right. How many of you come to? Just one, or did you watch the one last, Hope, online, or? Okay. I'm a very, I don't know, maybe I'm not a unique presenter, but I prefer that people talk to me and yell at me and, whatever, so that's fine. This is intended to be entertaining, but also, so that you can learn something. So hopefully we'll do a little bit of both. I promise not to get too cerebral. If you have a question, you can ask it, maybe I'll try to stop at the end of any slides or, every couple slides and just ask if I've, lost anyone or whatever. The beginning of this, we're going to careen through because most of it is Demoscene history. Can you make some noise if you came here and you have no fucking clue what the Demoscene is? Don't be shy. If you don't know what the Demoscene is, I want to hear from you. This is just an amazing computer art and music and programming and everything scene that I find fascinating. I'm a part of this scene. Most of the stuff that you're seeing tonight is not my work. I think I might make a sneak appearance in one or two things. This is not me, even though you might be here because you got a slip of paper from me in the vendor room selling chiptunes or something like that. So I want to make sure that that's clear. I'm kind of trying to put my scene on a pedestal, not me. So why don't we just go ahead and get started because I just put myself 15 minutes behind schedule accidentally. So there are some flashing lights, flashing colors. If you are photosensitive, if you have epilepsy or whatever, maybe this panel is not for you, or hopefully you've taken your meds. So be careful, please. I don't want to have experience any problems with that here. You should be healthy. Quick shout out real fast. These are working, right? Yeah, okay, good. I run a museum in Maryland just north of Baltimore called the Bloop Museum. It's inside of a larger museum called the System Source Computer Museum, and that is inside of an IT company called System Source, believe it or not. So I would love if you would come and visit me. I can show you our 15,000 square feet of space with the stuff you see up here. And we've got some PDPs that work, and we've got some Crays that don't. And you can sit on the couch, Naugahyde couch, and take a picture of yourself with the Cray, get a selfie or whatever if you want. We're all about being hands-on. So we would really love if you came down and I don't know, speed ran Oregon Trail and got dysentery or something. Not real dysentery. But and a couple people here actually are here at this panel because I told them about this panel at the museum. So if you've been to Bloop, then please feel free to make some noise right now. So see, there are even like 3 people in the audience that have been there, so it's a real place. All right. So what is the Demoscene? Maybe what I should do real fast is, I do have this like cool slide thing where I'm like, hey, the Demoscene, what are this? And like, by the way, these are recycled slides from 2018 and 2022, which is why I'm going to go through them quickly. You can watch, previous Hope slides on YouTube and whatever, but they're still relevant, and that's how we're going to catch everyone up. Hey, here's a pretty picture. Here's another pretty picture you should look at. Like, all right, here's one more. The previous 2 kind of look algorithmic. This one doesn't. What if I told you, hey, we just watched something about movies and hackers, right? Anyway, like all of that doesn't fit on maybe a piece of paper this tiny, but these are pretty small programs, and so I want to give you an example of an incredibly small program. We'll show you one demo just like right up front. This is something that, can I just like fling you onto my other display? That would be really nice. Hello? There we go. So here's a DOS demo. Did everyone catch the file size just now? We've got audio. We've got a rotating heat map. It's 256 bytes. You can write tweets longer than this. It's pretty wild. Granted, that's all it does. Most of these that are this small are just kind of looping animations and sound, possibly, that do something like this, but the music is very apt. It's like, think about the possibilities. And then it ends because someone hit escape, or it crashes after a certain amount of time. All right, so let's talk about this just a little bit more. I want to catch up. Does anyone in here not know about this thing that computers can do called communicate with other computers? These days, this is really easy, but maybe I should rewind just a little bit. So back in the tape, we're writing software, and it's on paper tape. And we're using computers that look like giant refrigerators, and then eventually we move on to the computers that need refrigerators, et cetera, et cetera. But really, we're just trying to exchange ideas. So actually, I think I like that one better. I don't know which one. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. You like this? Okay. So back in this era right here, the internet looks like this. It's not very big. And eventually it gets a little bit bigger, but this is good. At least I don't have to figure out the IP address. It's not difficult to get in touch with your neighbor, right? In fact, it's really not difficult to get in touch with your neighbor. Your neighbor will get connected to you by a pretty girl behind a console like this, and you're using a phone that looks like that. All right, so eventually we move into the future a little bit, and the internet starts looking a little bit more like this, and that's pretty cool. And I especially am appreciative that Texas is just a place, and Utah is just, like, can I telnet into Utah? You can also telnet into Illinois. I don't know. It's just some guy. There's also Gunter down here. I think they might have misplaced a dot from Germany and just put it in the U.S. No, this is pretty fascinating era where in the late '60s, open source gets its start with anyone. maybe a little bit of Unix, and maybe well, and there's plenty of patent encumbrance, I'm sure, but also with Space War. So, you know, MIT gets their first PDP, a PDP-1, one computer for the whole school, and they decide that they're going to have a housewarming party for their computer, because they're a bunch of nerds. It turns out that wine and cheese doesn't keep someone in one place for 4 hours unless there's a whole fuck ton of wine and cheese. So they decide they're going to write a video game for the PDP-1, and it's also going to be a burn-in test for the PDP-1. So instead of finding out 4 years down the line that that resistor was bullshit, they can just, you know, like find out that that resistor is dead now. Eventually, other schools start getting their computers, and they're connected to this internet thing. And you know, they're like, hey, we just got a PDP-1, can we test it and start getting Space War over the internet? And you know, they call up MIT and they're like, hey, we made it so that if you hyperspace too many times, your ship blows up. Isn't that cool? And they start passing around the code, and it gets better. And then eventually we end up with Computer Space and Gravity Game, which are the arcade versions of Space War. So this is a burn-in test, it's party entertainment, and it's open source software, sort of, that, you know, ends up in the hands of other schools. Mad hacks. So you would have to get this directly from someone over the internet somehow. But, you know, like, maybe you didn't go to school, maybe you hate school, maybe you're just, you know, stuck at home and you want to reach out and touch someone some other way. Maybe you have something like this. You know, so, you know, if you've got one of these things on the right, I don't know what that is. I think they call it a phone. You know, maybe you've got some floppy drives or a Commodore or something like that. And in this era, for those that don't know, again, probably half of the room does, but it's actually against the terms of service with the phone company to connect anything to your phone line. So this isn't just like, you know, Dade in Hackers where he's like, you know, got an injunction against him or whatever. You know, you actually sign up for phone service and they bring you a phone when they hook up your line. And this gets eliminated kind of in the beginning of the 80s. You know, people actually start having phone jacks in their home, and they've rescinded the policy that you can't plug anything into the phone line. But for now, let's pretend that this is still, you know, something that is required, and you're renting your phone kind of like, you know, if you have a cable modem or whatever, they make you rent it. They don't make you rent it, but they strongly encourage you to rent your cable modem, right? So everyone, the problem is that if they've got to deliver millions and millions of phones to people in their homes, then they're going to deliver this phone over here. And it's going to look the same in everyone's house. And because it looks the same, maybe you'll come up with some sort of device with a microphone and a speaker that you can just drop the phone on. Hey, I didn't connect anything to my phone line. You know, I just got one of these plugged into my computer, and it listens to the phone every once in a while. It's like an answering machine, you know? That ends up being a great idea. So you do this. And by the way, a bunch of these are like, some of them are images I blatantly ripped off of the internet, but stuff like this is stuff that you can see in the museum. Here's a cool-ass 300 baud modem. If you open this door, there's actually a sewing kit behind here that you can repair the modem with, which is pretty wild. So I just thought you'd like to see that. But here you go. Here's a Micromodem 100, like the first Hayes modem, right? And you've got these pins over here that you literally just take those pins and plug jumper wires into this and hook it up to phone wire. So there you go. You know, here's some other internal modems. Actually, these have phone jacks, so this would be post that era, right? Some other modems I've got. Who had a Sportster or a Courier? All right, good. Who had the competition, a not-so-smart modem? Wow, dead air, good. Everyone had US Robotics. So meanwhile in Chicago, right, there's this CBBS, and BBS actually probably just stands for Computer Bulletin Board System, but also a dude named Christensen, and also Chicago. So there's like all of these things that start with C that CBBS could be. You know, he's like, I'm just gonna like drop a computer on the phone and like let people call it. Here's my number, you know, whatever, you dial it and you'd see something like what's on the screen. I'm moving my mouse cursor around, but I bet you can't see it. Is there a pointer thing in the, no, there isn't. Oh well, I'm fucked. Anyway, so you dial into this computer BBS, and this guy would just like let you use his computer. Sounds cool, right? In other parts of the world, you'd end up, here's on the left is a French Minitel terminal, and on the right is an Angel Note, which is a little businessman briefcase model of basically the Minitel thing on the left, but it gives you on NTT data, which is an information service that the phone company offers that you can do a lot of the same things that you can do on Minitel. And what can you do on Minitel? A lot of the things that you do on the internet, look at ads, you can do online banking or stocks or, send messages or even do something that I think a lot of people would consider new. You can order food on Minitel. Like, this is not actually a new thing. Anyway, NTT Data is now the company that, like if you're a T-Mobile customer and you go to Japan and turn on your phone, you'll connect to NTT instead. It's just the Japanese phone company that you would get data service from. But by the way, everyone knows what AT&T stands for, right? Someone want to shout it out? So what is NTT? Correct. Okay, there we go. All right, this is interactive shit, right? All right, so serial port, because we just experienced serial killer. You call one of these other systems that might just be run by someone that's maybe a little bit more off their nut than the government. Maybe the government is off their nut, I don't know. But you get all of these sort of interesting things. It's like suddenly someone figured out how to call another computer, right? Like, wait a second. Anyone ever seen any of these? This thing called CompuServe, like we're starting to discover, who remembers this? I actually really liked Prodigy. Can I tell you a really good joke that doesn't work anymore? You used to be able to tell someone, you could say, is Prodigy a band or an information service and be able to figure out how old they are? But now you can't do that anymore because you say, what's Prodigy? And they're like, what? It's really disappointing because I like The Prodigy and I also like Prodigy. Here's one of those things. I got an exclusive screenshot in the corner here. Did anyone ever use AOL for DOS? Down here in the corner is AOL for DOS. But most people probably use this shit up here. AOL for DOS was blazing fast because there was no Windows overhead. GDI is bullshit. And here's an interesting thing. Everything is related and everything is a remix. Here's GEOS, which is like Windows for your Commodore 64, if you can think about that for a minute. And if you look back at the screenshot, you notice how it kind of looks like a new age version of GEOS? So this is GeoWorks. GeoWorks is like they were going to try and compete with Windows and failed miserably. But you could actually get GEOS for a bunch of different machines and operating systems and run it. And GEOS and your Commodore 64, the truth is stranger than fiction. AOL didn't used to be called America Online. It used to be called Q-Link or Quantum Link. And if you've seen *Halt and Catch Fire*, where everything is like it's like Mother Goose mix-ups, except it's with the IT and tech industry. It's actually a really good show. I like it a lot. But here it is, like AOL -5, and you can see the beginning of instant messaging down here in the corner, and chat rooms. And there was also this thing called Club Caribe, which also got released as a standalone called Habitat, which is recently reverse engineered and revived. So if you want the earliest MMOs, here you go. So we've got all of these cool tools to get online, both dialing, like the nut job next door, and by, like dialing into all of these commercial services. And then people start doing this amazing artwork, right? Where they're advertising their online service that they run probably out of their garage or basement or whatever. I should know, I did one. Both the ANSI art and running the BBS, actually, because I didn't have any friends. you dial into one of these. Let's talk specifically about BBSs now. By the way, if you want the less fast version of the BBS talk, Jason Scott, who I'm sure you know, has a BBS documentary that is multi-part and absolutely amazing. It's really good. You should watch it. You log in. You can do the same shit that you can do on the internet. You download files. You can send messages. You can play doors. You can post bulletins. There's message boards. Try to chat with people. Chat with sysop doesn't always work because the sysop might be like in school because he's not even a teenager yet. I'm making self-references here. When you want to download files, it might look like this. You look through lists of files. You tag the file that you want to download. So you could go over here and say, I want file number 2 and file number 5 or whatever, and then you actually go to download and it'll send you your files in the order you tag them. Eventually, you do something like this. Oh, hey, it looks like I'm downloading something that I can run on my own BBS. Anyone know what I'm downloading? Excellent. You can also eventually get something called RipTerm, which would give you graphics in this like world of just text mode stuff. This graphic is especially relevant. Not really, but here's some incredible RipTerm art. So you download like vectors and primitives to draw real art. Like it's not downloading raster images or pixels because like downloading pixel boobies takes you like 2 hours. RipTerm could also had this, it could draw scroll bars, and buttons and windows and dialogues, and this was really useful because, like people that wanted a graphical interface but didn't want to pay for AOL finally can do this. So you see stuff like this, and you can even download your own rip art. It's pretty great. Also, if you had RipTerm, the files section looked way better, right? Like you can actually like just click on the files that you want and be like, download, this is great. And so there's this sudden divergence where, these people doing these ANSI arts for like login screens and BBS ads, they have to up their game, right? And so they start upping their game in the text arts department, and then you've got the RipTerm guys drawing new rip graphics, and there's a little bit of a game of leapfrog. But I want to go back to downloading files for a second. I would download some stuff. I was a big music downloader. We're not talking about MP3s if you're under whatever age that is. You download music, and it tells you what instruments are in your music. This is Megamix 88. It has fun bass and whatever. These are all instruments that probably someone ripped out of, like a Korg or a Roland or, something like that. But every once in a while, you'd be like downloading these mod files that you listen to music, and you wouldn't get a list of instruments. You'd get like, I'm Jester. Here's my phone number. here's my address. If you're interested in hiring me, you could call this up. So what did 12-year-old me do? Fucking call them. I found one guy in the U.S., Sidewinder, and he lived in Texas, and he was all about like Amiga and Sega and being chill and whatever. And in one of his mods, he's like, my CD is coming out. And me being the age that I am, I can't, I don't want to send cash in the mail. I've never met this guy before, and it's Texas, and I'm living in bumfuck Idaho. And I just called the guy up, and I talked to him for like 30 minutes about, his favorite local pizza and whatever. And then I get in trouble with my mom for making long-distance phone calls. But that's also because I had been calling, 30 billion BBSs and racked up like hundreds of dollars. Because I wanted to follow this path of discovering all of these services that, these people call my BBS. By the way, here's your Legend of the Red Dragon on the right. Finally, that download finished. Trade Wars was also a big deal back in the day. Early space trading and combat game. And And because these boards are single line, you'd actually play like a couple turns of the game and leave your ship like parked in the middle of space, hopefully with like shields or something like that. Someone else can log in and attack your ship. If there was eventually multi-line BBSs where multiple people could play trade wars at once, and that was kind of a game changer and very wild. And apparently they still have like a trade wars leaderboard. And I just went to, again, this is like, my life is so weird. One of the guys is like a top trade wars champion, lives down the street from the museum, and we went over and played arcade games at his house the other day. I can't make this shit up. So then there's this other thing that we're doing with computers that has nothing to do with getting online. We love big box games. This is actually from the Library of Congress, so I guess I can't buy games from the Library of Congress, but if that were a software store, I'd sure like to rip it off. The guys on the opposite sides are holding a copy of Ultimate, let's try that again, Ultima, because they are the coders of Ultima, and they went to Software, etc., and Egghead, before Newegg, and bought their own game just so that they could be legit. But again, not all of us can afford to subscribe to an online service, so not all of us can afford to go out and buy software. So what do we do? I moved this slide intentionally further to the closer to the beginning, because in the 2018 talk, are you here, whoever it is that yelled, "Don't copy that floppy," before I got the chance to get here? Anyway, so yeah, you do that. And sometimes you get a really nice pirated floppy here where you could actually get instructions on how to install your pirated game, or how to start it up. Just type this. Someone's Bard's Tale character disc. Wonder if it's any good. Mind Shadow, Lodestar, comma 8, comma 1. If you only have one floppy drive, you don't need that comma 1. So if you pirate a game, every once in a while you get a surprise. Turns out, Kong Strikes Back was cracked by ABC. Rad War up here decided to bring you 1942. Sierra Online, I'm sorry to say, Ken Williams, Aquatron, was pirated by the Freeze. I thought that was a superhero. Crackers are trying to get attention by putting their name somewhere so that, obviously, the game is by someone else, but they want you to know that they cracked this. There was copy protection on here, or I pirated this, or I got the game before it came out and, zero-date it to all my friends, whatever. But every once in a while, you see something like this. You put in the floppy, you start up the game, and instead of seeing the game or seeing like the pirate's name in the credits or whatever, where is the mouse cursor? There we go. Instead of getting the game, you get stuff like this. Little bit of epilepsy, right? And you're like, whoa, this is about to be a badass game of ski or die. Ski or die is not by these guys. Wait a second, the screen's still black, but this music's pretty banging. Huh. Imported by Richie. I didn't import my copy of Ski or Die. I could call Illusion HQ. There's the phone number. Look out for other Illusion wares. Now we enter this era of gangsta rap, computer style. Shout outs to all my buddies here. If you get the right intro, you'll also get, they would say greetings to, such and such, such and such. And then the groups that they hated, they would say fuckings go to, this one, that one, the other one. So, interesting. If you had an Amiga, if you had an Amiga, oops, that was supposed to play a video. Do we actually get one? There we go. This might look a little familiar. Oh, hey. If you want to join the coolest group on the scene, or if you want to be one of our distribution sites, then contact us on our HQ, Nirvana. And remember, Interpol, mess with the best, die like the rest. And then you just get to read it over and over again. All right, again, pretty cool. But they're talking about distribution. Okay, for us, that was BBS's. In Europe, they had a few more balls than we did, like 3 or 4. And they'd be sending discs around in this. In the US, we were petrified that we'd get caught by the feds. But in Europe, they're passing around with graffiti on them. It's pretty wild. To the point where people are actually sneaking these and other things. Notice we've got on here charts, option 7. This is a Commodore 64 disc mag. Anyone ever heard of a zine? So here we have one of those, except it's literally on a disc. And here's an Amiga version. The artwork is awesome. There's usually a tune playing in the background. And you notice, you keep on seeing this word chart. And you're thinking, what are the charts? Well, it turns out, just like some sort of stupid sci-fi movie where people are trying to do more hacks than the other guy and score, and they're having a competition of sorts, this is legit happening, where they actually have these charts of who has cracked the most games this month or whatever. And it's real. And eventually you watch one of these, and they've got all sorts of scene drama in these mags and whatever, but you look up here, and you see something else. Right next to this phone that's hooked up to the @ symbol, I see something interesting. Anyone want to tell me what it is? Right up here? Party? Sorry about that. Hold on. I've been in my basement for 10 years watching these. And someone's telling me there's a party? Something happens here. People start going through all of these disc mags and finding out that in Europe, people are having copy parties and whatever. And they're showing these cute little intros and demos and cracktros on the wall as party entertainment. Come and pirate any software you want. It's a giant-ass LAN party with Amigas. And people are watching this stuff on the wall. This is 40K, by the way. So there's a technical aspect here. Suddenly these hackers that are breaking copy protection are able to get noticed because they're doing this cool sort of art thing. Full screen animations in 16 colors. This is big shit for this era. But they've got all these cool effects. I mean, they're decent, right? This is the kind of stuff you'd expect to see on the wall at a rave. And and these guys say something controversial. They're at a copy party, right? And this is entertainment for the copy party or for the LAN party or whatever you want to call it. Everyone's pirating software. This shows up on the wall. People are into it, they're watching it. And then they say, what's the point in cracking games? It only ruins the future of the Amiga. Piracy is a crime. There are some that will say, that was a joke. But some people pay attention to it, and they actually stop cracking games, and they decide that they've spent the past, 5-10 years trying to leapfrog the other guy's cool intro thing. Excuse me. The end. And that's the end of my panel. No. So you've got a couple people that are very serious about cracking games, and you've got a couple people that are like, well, maybe they've got a point. Why don't we just stop cracking games? We've been at war with each other to figure out how to do the coolest visual effects and whatever. Why don't we just come up with the coolest visual effects we can, fit them on a floppy disk, watch them at a party, and we could even compete and vote on them or something. And they do. Don't worry, in Germany, they're still having copy parties, probably run by people that are 15. This is one of my favorites. I do show this one pretty much every time I give this panel. Something great will be happening in Hamburg. TBS invites you to the biggest mega copy party ever made in Hamburg, north of Germany, the whole world. Yes. Do you know why? We don't. Oh, something was forgotten. 3 stars hotel, 15 Amigas, about 30 disk drives, and we hope no police. We hope you hope too. But wait, it gets better. So if you all don't wanna come to enjoy the feeling of 15 Amigas, contact us for more infos. Write to, and here's their fucking address. We're gonna run a piracy event in a giant hotel. Oh, we forgot the dates. It is the 2nd of June, 1990, or the 3rd of June, 1990, or both. Credits go to, now we have to credit everyone that did the awesome scroll text and the code. It's very important to credit your artists. Music by Benny B. This might be how Benny Benassi got his start. Voltron and Mr. Pet. Now the greetings. So you gotta shout out your homies. Red Sector is a good name that's still around. And none of these other guys. We finally just got our Phil Collins drum breakdown, by the way. And So this is what happens when you have a bunch of like 14-year-old Germans or something, and they're like, we can convince a hotel that we're going to have a piracy party in a hotel, and it'll be fine, and no police will show up. Even though we're specifying our address. That's how it makes it legit, I guess. And what does this look like? So this is what it looked like. I want the feeling of 30 disk drives. But these days, it might look more like this. What can you expect of these parties? Food. Tokyo Demo Fest down here. That's why you've got the weird Japanese pizzas with mayo. I believe that's River Wash up in the corner, which is in Poland. I'm awful, and I don't know what's up in the right. I think the bottom is a food truck at Revision. That might be Breakpoint in the corner or something like that. There's also sleeping arrangements. This looks just like Hope, actually. Does anyone remember the Hotel Pen? It's right here. You don't have to forget. It turns out these parties are actually pretty serious inside. Looks like one of the coolest LAN parties you've ever been to. So is this possible in the US? Well, kinda. These are every other week in Europe at this point that people are doing this, but we've got Demo Splash in Pittsburgh over here. We've got At Party in Boston. It used to be in Somerville at Artisans Asylum, but Artisans Asylum is moving now. So it will be in the new Artisans Asylum once it exists fully. But it used to be that I would only shout out these two, and I would forget to mention Synchrony. Haha, there's a slide with Synchrony on it now. Synchrony starts in New York City at Baby Castles, and you all hop on a train and you go to Montreal, and you write your demos on the train, and you show them in Montreal. It's pretty cool. Also, an interesting addition is that Revision, which, by the way, you saw how big that was, right? Revision is probably the largest event. Assembly looks larger, but half of it is like a LAN and gaming party esports event at this point. I think Assembly is still pretty cool, and it's also one of the OG parties that I really wanted to go to, but I was like 13 and my parents wouldn't let me go to Finland. Hi, Mom. But because of the pandemic, ain't nobody going to Germany. We were actually planning on going in 2020, and wherever some of my friends are.
We're going to make that trip happen, buddy. It's all happening.
See, there we go. So we already have plane tickets, and then all the shutdowns happened, and everything was fucked. But an interesting thing happened. Revision transitioned to an online, that was like a hiccup, an online interactive experience, and they had actually been live streaming Revision for, like 4 or 5 years or whatever. They eventually got themselves banned from Twitch because, like one of the demos had like 3 seconds of nipple. So then CCC actually graciously picked up all of the streaming and whatever, and things went on. Kudos to them. Revision moves on. They actually still stream on Twitch. They got reinstated. Things are pretty great. This year, they decided that they would set up satellite locations, and the entire theme of the event was Revision satellites. And you could literally go to my museum and watch Revision and participate in the event and everything. And there were these sprouted up all over the world. There was one in the UK. There was like a bunch of them in Germany. And you could literally just go to Revision. And they even had... what made this really kind of special is that the home office checked back in with all of the satellites. And you can see my ugly mug right in the middle there. And you can see all of these different spots all over the world where people did this. And it was just really nice. It was nice to be, and actually from a US standpoint, Europe has always been the serious scene people for this, right? And the US has not really, we've been serious about the scene here, but we're just so spread apart and like, few and far between and whatever. It's not like being, a bunch of nerds packed together in Germany or whatever. So it was very cool actually for the US to receive recognition here. But I want to rewind a little bit and show you two extremely notable demos that we're going to just kind of skip through a little bit, because what I want to do is get us to what's happening in the demo scene now, not what happened in the demo scene in 1992. The important thing to understand with what I'm about to show you is previously we had been watching stuff like what I just showed you, right? Like they're simple intros, they have some scroll text, they might have some cool visual effects. Hey, look at what I can do. Maybe even the scroll text says, hey, look at what I can do. People were trying to show stuff off, and suddenly in like roughly 1992, we jumped to this sort of cinematic thing instead. And so one of the first demos that I think anyone in Europe will remember, there are really two demos that blew the envelope wide open. And one of them is Desert Dream on the, there we go, our Amiga fans are awake. All right. We'll watch like, I don't know, a couple minutes of this because it's really great. Screenplay written by. Don't worry, you don't have to like remember this. It's not going to be on the test. Often threatened by vegetables. Sounds very personal. That is a watermelon. That's how it ends if you eat watermelon, I'm just saying. this be a lesson to you that push veggies on people. Introducing scene poetry. Here they say, let's demolish some more. They're making a reference to records. They want to demolish more limitations and more records of what people have done with this machine so far. Make no mistake, rotating 12,000 dots takes a shit ton of math. And doing this at 8 megahertz is not easy. This is cute right here. Sorry, AV guys. Psych! And then they ask you for disc 2. All right, so I'm going to the next slide because how many Amiga people do we have in the room? At least 5? 1? I lost the other Amiga people. All right. Who was your primary rival that had better games than you, or that you had better games than, and you were constantly fighting back and forth? What kind of computer did they have? PC. So there are these guys that are doing Commodore 64 stuff, and they realize maybe we should do some PC stuff. what I want you to notice, obviously some people in here have seen this. Can I get some shouts from people who have not seen this yet? Excellent. I'm glad this is going to be new to you, because this is quite possibly, alongside Desert Dream, like these two demos are basically the demos that made us go from like Piracy LAN party to like indie film fest mode for these demo parties. So these guys are future crew, and that was my slide. Hello? Click. There we go. And they decide to do, now I don't really know if they saw Desert Dream, and I should probably just ask them because I know some of them, but you're gonna notice some similarities here. It's kind of like a remix of the other demo. It's true, actually. I spent years trying to figure out what this said. It says, another way to scroll. You're welcome. Don't kick us out, St. John's. It's just art.
I am not an atomic playboy.
See, he's not even an atomic playboy.
Get down.
I think I spent about 10 years just staring at plasma animations and realizing that's like what I see when I close my eyes. Like when you're trying to look at something in your sleep. Whose spinning cube is better? Time will tell. And just when you don't think it can get any more complex, they decide they're going to do one more thing. And then they give you a nice credit sequence. So it's about at the point where everyone watches this spaceship animation and whatever in 1993, and they're like, why aren't these guys making games? This is better than any game I've played yet. And what you don't realize is that, has anyone ever heard of Remedy Entertainment? Flat Out? They ended up making that. A bunch of these guys, has anyone ever played Bejeweled? The guy that made the music right now, that music ends up in some of the PopCap stuff. The guy that made the techno-y music that was playing earlier ends up rearranging a bunch of Final Fantasy music and going on tour and does video game concerts. Like, these guys are still in the scene and they're still doing stuff that you've probably heard of. 3D Mark, written by these guys. It was just a few years too early that they were doing this. So, at this point, we should be understanding that these demos are something that we get on a couple floppy disks from a friend, or that might even have been mailed to us. We got from Software of the Month Club, who knows? But you might have also gotten them from, you downloaded it from a BBS or something like that. And there really is no purpose to these other than that they wanted to show them at a demo party and show off their cool chops and do something cool and artistic. Is everyone on the same page? Okay. And also that these are completely algorithmic. There might be a couple animations in here, but like there is a technical aspect to this. These are all running on machines that are, anywhere from like 8 to 33 megahertz is the range of computer that we're talking about, with like, a meg, maybe 2 megs of RAM, something like that. Again, we all on the same page? Okay. Does anyone have any questions so far? This is where we kind of descend into the next pile of slides, is where I explain. You notice, did anyone catch on to the similarities between Desert Dream and Second Reality? You see a lot of the same effects. You start seeing a lot of the same tricks. People are going back to their games of Leapfrog again, where they're like, I saw that effect, I can do it better. I saw that scroller, I think I can do a cooler one. That sort of a thing. And we start seeing just interesting stuff where we're really trying to explain this is just art. So these next slides, actually most of these demos I showed in my, the ones in the slides I showed in the 2020 presentation. So if you want to watch full versions of these, please just pop onto YouTube and watch that. I have 90 or so minutes of brand new demos that have happened within the last, some odd like 2 to 5 years that I have not shown as a part of presentation. But I do want to show you just a couple out of the slides, and only just a couple seconds of each one to give you an idea of what we're talking about here. So people, wherever my mouse cursor is, are trying to explain the scene to others.
Hello, boys and girls. Today, we're going to learn the alphabet. But not the usual alphabet. No, it's the Demoscene alphabet. So pay attention and have some fun. Ready? Let's begin.
This is the one that I'll spend a few more than a couple seconds on.
Stands, of course, for the mighty Amiga. It's for byte, kilo, mega, or giga. It's for cube, yes, we'll love him forever. It's for drinking with friends all together. It's your entry that gets an award. It's for fun, cause we'll never get bored. It's for greetings to those far and near. It's for halls filling year after Invitation is welcome you hearty. It's jury, all who visit the party. It's for keyboard, the tool for a coder. It's the long time we stare at a loader. It's for music with basses so fat. It's for night, cause we sleep when we're dead. It's outside where the real party is. It's the pixel, our graphical bliss. It's for quality, aim high and feel prime. It's our mantra, let's do it in real time. It's for streaming to sofas online. It's for traveling to parties worldwide. It's for us, ancient old school on YouTube. It's for webcams of demos on YouTube. It's for wild, just break the limit. It's for x-axis, draw a line in it. It's for y-axis, use it and see with. For z-axis, you'll get 3D. Okay, that's all, folks. Now you know everything about the Demoscene alphabet. Try to repeat and mesmerize it. And if you forget any letter, just come back and start this demo again.
So a lot of people have tried to do what I'm doing, some of them more successful than others. We're definitely not going to watch this whole thing here, but this is one that takes a more tongue-in-cheek approach. ABCDE or ABC.
Hello, kids. My name is Fido. Fido the dog. Fido. Fido is my name. F-I-D-ho-ho. Fido. Repeat after me, kids.
Okay, enough of that. So, what we've tried to explain is that there are these there are common demo categories, and then there are all of these repeated effects that basically are memes in demos, right? So enough looking at Charlie here. Stuff that we already saw. We saw some cracked-tros, which is literally just an intro in a cracked game. We saw an intro, which are these small demos. We saw a mega demo, sometimes called a dentro, or a demo. Somewhere in between these, people don't really use the term dentro anymore. These are the kinds of things that we've seen already, but there are categories. So there are 64K demos that are literally demos that are 64 kilobytes in size and do some pretty amazing shit. Like, just to give you an example of what you can do with 64K, this is an old 64K demo. And I skipped right to the part where it's calculating. So that is old, and to give you a kind of middle of the road, here's 2014 Mercury. Does this really cool water effect that really drew me in, but then there's so much more to this demo than just that. This entire thing, the music, the video, everything is 64K. It's just nuts. They do this. We're going to skip through it a little bit. I'm sorry to Mercury. Oops, and I skipped right ahead to another slide too. That is not what I wanted to do here. Well, you saw some of that. This scene at the end is also pretty unreal. Looks like pretty much a real city scene. Someone probably saw that just trying to get here. It's pretty incredible. There's another, basically Mercury and Conspiracy, the other guys that are doing 64Ks are competing against each other. Conspiracy has been on a kick, and I don't know, they're sort of exiting the kick, but as soon as I say that, I'm going to see another one where they've been trying to do these like sort of photorealistic movie trailer things in 64K. Hello, come on. Stay on the slide. And we'll jump forward. Conspiracy stuff is typically very atmospheric. And you actually see something similar to what we just saw, but maybe a little bit leveled up. This is much newer. Wait, much newer? Somewhat newer. Jump ahead a little bit more. Jump ahead a little bit more. Just give you an idea of, like very moody. Entire thing, 64K. But we can do better than that. How about 4K? One of my videos has been nuked. So these guys did something, I mean, we're talking about 4K here. We can't do a whole lot. We decided to kind of get a little bit existential, go into space. Here's some more My Cube is Better Than Your Cube. Does some more interesting stuff. Eventually the cube travels. We build a building from scratch and fly around in the building. This is from a time where ribbon animation was also quite big. And then eventually at the end we see a return. Hey, what's that? It's the return of the cube. I like that one a lot. This was from Evoke 2017. And I'm just going to say this over and over like a broken record. The audio included in this visual experience that you're getting is still 4K for the whole thing. Getting like a half Blade Runner experience here. It's pretty serious. Okay. Oh, and I should we should show you Oscar's chair. So a lot of these are very algorithmic, right? Because when you're getting down to 4K, everything has to be drawn by, a math equation, basically. But these guys went in a completely different direction and decided to draw a very realistic room in a chair. And you don't really know what the story of Oscar's chair is, but we do know that there's a problem. There seems to be a pool of liquid on the floor near the chair. Some guy named Oscar, maybe there was an accident. It's pretty clear what kind of an accident it might have been. But of course, in the end, the chair won. This was pretty game-changing for 4Ks and caused a lot of people to have to up the quality of their demos. So recently, there is a huge movement into going even smaller, 256 bytes or 128 bytes or 64 bytes. So what can you do with 64 bytes? Well, I guess the audio is out of the question. But you can still do some stuff. And you saw that 256 byte at the beginning. But text message worth of machine language, and you can do stuff like this. By the way, I committed a sin and checked my phone in the middle of my panel, and I saw a notice that someone says the YouTube live stream might be down. So I'm shouting that out to the back, just in case. So size coding is becoming an incredibly big deal. But if you couldn't figure it out already, demos or memes, we've already shouted this out. You can see all sorts of examples of this. You have definitely already seen some scroll text. And there's even someone that did a parody and called it Elder Scrollers and said, you know what, we're just going to one-up this, and everything in the demo is going to be a scroller. So there's all of this like scroll text in this demo. Of course, I had to skip to the like one of their scrollers is just like the scroller game keeps on getting more and more serious. Whenever the screen is blank, you know that they're calculating something. 3D Amiga Boing Ball on a Commodore 64, for example. Sorry, I know we're watching like just little tiny pieces of these, but they are available, and I want to get to the new stuff. Pixel and scene art, huge big deal. Noon stars. This was a really cool demo with a lot of artistic stuff in it. Highly suggest that. You saw this guy in the middle, but shout-outs definitely appear in scroll texts all the time. They call them greets. And, you know, dots, because pixel art. Plasma. 3D on computers that have no business doing 3D. Tunnels. You definitely saw a couple of those, but just in case it wasn't perfectly clear what you can do with tunnels. Oops, well, we didn't get to the tunnel part. Sorry. Let's try that again. Great example of the tunnel here. This guy is making that face because he can't compete with this tunnel. All sorts of ray tracing and ray marching. You get scene references, like references to the party that people are at. This demo in the middle is Debris, and I think we might have actually watched Debris at a previous event, but I want to show you the live version of Debris in a second here. Actually, why don't we make it a literal second? I'm going to show you Debris shown live. Because really to get an idea of what these festivals are like, I mean, certainly y'all are like sitting here clapping when you see a cool demo and oohing and eyeing and wowing and right, but picture yourself in a room with a bunch of people that actually write these. It's going to take a little bit more to impress them than it is probably all of us, right? So how exactly does that work? How much does it take to impress them? So here is a live capture of Breakpoint 2007 where they actually showed Debris. And we'll just watch this. Now you can feel like you're really there. They have this system here that shows you, the name of the next demo that's about to play, the one that played last. Everyone in the audience is probably drunk. I'm sure you've never seen one of these before. It's called a progress bar. But actually what's happening is they're doing all sorts of pre-calculation, decrunching, because we're watching a 64K demo. So it's actually unpacking, 2 gigs worth of crap into RAM from the 64K thing. And what you probably don't know because you weren't there, or maybe someone here was, but this is a reference to the neighborhood that they went to go to Breakpoint. So someone has built, it's like going to Hope and someone built a demo with St. John's in it, or Hotel Penn. This is the ultimate my cube is better than your cube. bridge is coming to get you. Security camera footage is nice. That's a nice touch. These are their greets. And they ended with that one, of course. Sorry, Farbroush, I'm cutting off your applause, but that gives you an idea of what it's like to be there. There's a lot of fourth wall breaking party references. There are hardware references. Any Amiga users remember Intel Outside? You also got these guys referencing their own hardware. So here's a Super Nintendo, or the beginning of Super Nintendo, where they're literally just showing you, hey, I wrote this demo on a Super Nintendo. Here it is. So you get all of these people referencing their platform and just showing off what they can do. And I think maybe now is actually as good a time as any to show off. One thing that I think I've kind of ignored in past presentations, I showed a little bit of this in my 2018 talk where I showed some game consoles doing demos. But normally the demo scene, at least back in the day, would be something you download, something you run on your PC, your Amiga, your Commodore, whatever. But people have been getting more and more exotic as time has gone on. So now people are trying to write demos for some of the weirdest consoles they can. Just as an example, I have here a 3DO demo, which, by the way, does anyone remember the 3DO? Does anyone that remembers the 3DO know what CPU it had? Nope. This is going to be wild, and this is going to blow your mind. And I learned this recently, or kind of recently anyway. It's ARM. It's the first ARM device we really saw in the US. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. And maybe now that puts into perspective, the 3DO totally got knocked out by the PlayStation, right? But it was, the biggest reason was probably no one wanted to spend $700 on a game console. But people also saw that it was an ARM at 12 megahertz and not, like a MIPS at 28 or something like that. And they were like, oh, well, there's no way that 12 megahertz CPU can outrun that 28 megahertz CPU. Looking back, I think the ARM probably could have outrun that 28 megahertz CPU. But anyway, that's not the point. I just wanted to show you and these guys actually use the name Dentro because they call it a 3Dentro instead of a 3DO. So, isn't it cute? Music by Ham. It's a little bit new, right? We haven't seen any demos that reference Discord yet. and real 3DO memes. So pretty cool. There's now a 3DO scene, and we have to go write some demos. So if anyone knows how to write code for ARM, which, hey, might be a whole lot of people now, you can write 3DO software too. So that's not the only console. Maybe we could run a couple more. Not this one, though. Why don't we move on to... Oh, hey! Anyone ever heard of a GameCube? It's kind of like a Mac, but smaller. You laugh, but it's actually a G4 with an ATI Radeon. This one's a little dark. I hope you like breaks. There are many breaks in demos. Scary ass game of Pac-Man. But who competed with the GameCube? They seem to have found those spinning cubes from debris, or maybe that's where they got them from.
Feel the weight of the future bearing down. A future I don't need. So I keep running. As fast as I can.
So at this point, you're probably saying, oh, GameCube, PlayStation 2. I mean, like, that's pretty cool, and it's on a PlayStation 2 or a GameCube or whatever, but maybe you could impress me a little bit more. I do think that that's pretty impressive for the hardware, but you talked about all of these old computers being able to do some crazy, wacky shit. So we're gonna take a step back from what I like to consider non-retro consoles. I still don't think a GameCube is retro. I still get slightly offended when a kid comes in and says, oh, Mario 64 is so retro. But we're going to go past the Nintendo 64, blow right past it, and how about we switch to some Super Nintendo stuff? For those of you that don't know, the Super Nintendo is 3 megahertz. It has its own sound mixing CPU, which is the only reason it's even worth a damn at audio. Side note, pandas are pretty cute. This is real time and no super effects because they destroyed one with a mushroom. We're still in the same demo. Aw, they greeted bit shifters. I've done stuff with them. And then we get a repeat. Anyone ever heard of a Vectrex? Apparently there's a demo scene for that too. The Carnegie Mellon Computer Club has taken it upon themselves to write multiple Vectrex demos. There's a special kind of demo called an invitro that actually invites you to their demo party. Rawr. I'm glad some of you got that joke. For those of you that didn't, there are no pixels on this machine. Oh, hey! Moving on, how about one Nintendo 64 demo? think someone accidentally a GameCube inside of their N64. Maybe not quite. But wait, there's competition in the Vectrex category. You wouldn't know that more people are writing Vectrex demos. Does your Vectrex have a physics engine? I don't know if it's the cameraman or not, but some of these effects you can see the machine is clearly not happy with this. All right, I get 2 more console demos, and then I'm going to careen through a few more slides. Here's an interesting one I found. We're now in Game Boy Color land. A little bit of hacking is being done. The Game Boy and the Game Boy Color are as fast as your TI graphing calculator. Same CPU. Don't worry, I can't read it either. I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit to Atari 2600 land because I want you to see that too before I have to go through slides. This is dissonant as fuck because the Atari only has 32 notes. But they're doing some pretty crazy stuff on the screen. Who in here knows how much RAM the Atari 2600 has? There it is. Everyone hear that? 128 bytes of RAM. Does it have a frame buffer? It's a wonder that they even made games on this thing. All right, we're going to quit this. I'm going to jump through a few more slides because I really want to tell you a few other things that are going on in the scene that I think are kind of big, right? Here's just a couple more like memes that I'm just going to skip past. Like there are a bunch of dancing and mocap demos. There are demos that cover other demos. So previously we showed this in a previous version of the panel. And you get to watch this, you know, like pretty cool mocap demo, and there's some dancing in it. It actually starts to look more like dancing here. But then someone went and did an Atari 2600 version of this. And you think I'm joking, but like, and they even have the dancing person. Like, where are you, dancing person? Here you go. Can't believe that someone did this. You also get sample playback. On a Commodore 64, they went crazy and did a whole bunch of like, you can listen to Tom Steiner. Look up Cubase 64. You can even run it on your real C64. And I wanted the rest of that. And you can do all of these effects. Anyway, so that's fascinating. And if you think that's great, just wait. But wait. This is a Commodore 64. And they're actually playing decent quality sample playback. Dynamic range is very good. And they have time for graphics on the screen while they're doing it, which is just wild to think about for a system this slow. And they don't just do these simple effects. They actually do stuff that requires real CPU time to run. For example, black screens. Oh wait. Fast scrolling over high-res images. So just yet another example of some of the crazy stuff they're doing. This Wyndham reality is second reality done by Jason Scott with a video camera and video editing. I love the fourth wall breaking in the DC5 demos. Just a quick look at that. Oops, so quick that we skipped to the next slide. And eventually, well, anyway, we're going to skip past this because you end up with terrain generators. I'm sure you've seen this. But what's great about this is someone decided, oh, I'm going to generate mountains, but now I'm going to ski through them. So that ends up being pretty cool. You also end up with these twisters. You've seen a couple of these in the demos that we've been watching. So what's hot right now? Live coding competitions are hot right now. And this is one thing that I have spent virtually no time on in previous panels. And I think it's really important, but also has just like in the last 5 years has just blown way the fuck up. On the right, we have a shader showdown where people are writing GL shader language live, and they have 30 minutes to write the coolest shader in real time that they can. And it's one person against the other. And, you know, some of these guys, you know, like practice shaders and like have an idea of a shader they're going to write. Some people do it completely off the cuff. There are upsets. There's all sorts of amazing stuff going on. But there's another thing that, I mean, I think a lot of people that know about or know about the demo scene might know about shader showdowns. There are also byte battles. This is something that Lovebyte, a demo party, is doing. Lovebyte has a whole lot of, it's basically a size coding demo party. And they their byte battle is, does anyone know what the TIC-80 is? So there are these fantasy game consoles. You have a virtual machine for a game console that doesn't actually exist. And it has kind of theoretical limitations and that sort of a thing. And so they write size-coded stuff in real time against each other, just like the shader showdown, but instead of the goal being to come up with this coolest shader that you can, the goal is to come up with the coolest, like, pixel art animation sort of thing that you can. So I actually have, they released a little sort of pseudo demo from these guys that showcases some of the effects. To give you an idea of what you can do with a TIC-80, I'll do that afterwards, but I want to show you. Actually, there's also a trailer, so let's run that real fast.
At Lovebyte, we will premiere Byte Battle. A new concept where people from all different kinds of platforms and backgrounds can come together and show off their skills. From Amiga to Atari or traditional shader
So you
coding.
sit here and you write live code and then you render it, and they showcase
From
each
fantasy
person
consoles to the ZX Spectrum.
in a relatively short period of time. And while you're at the
Oh,
party, you can literally just vote on the person that comes up with the coolest effect.
Like a limbo dance, the size limit will slowly count down from 512 bytes all the way down to 256 bytes. The size will be shown in the bottom right of the screen, so the audience can always keep track of how the contestants are doing. Who has the best effect? Who has the longest breath? Who can stay within the size limits? We will all find out at the Lovebyte party on March 12th until March 14th, 2021.
Get your vote key now for the past. So to give you an idea of what the system can actually do, even though it's not a real system, I thought that I would produce one example of a size-coded entry. This is 512 bytes. Music might be simple, but hearing any progression at all, even hearing chord progressions at all, is pretty amazing for something sub 1K. So to give you an idea of what you have, if you have a little bit more space in your ROM or whatever, you can do this instead. Pretty cool. Another really big thing that I think needs some attention in this scene is there is a huge executable graphics thing happening right now. This has technically always been a thing, and like isn't the point of the demo to be like algorithmic in the first place, right? But like there are bots on Twitter that are tied to emulators of specific platforms, and you can literally tweet code at the bot and it'll draw stuff and tweet it back at you. So this is like an interesting, cool way to kind of randomly become involved in the scene and not even have to go to a party. You know, I mean, not that you wouldn't want to go to one of these, I think you should, but you can do stuff. And this art might remind you of something. Does anyone see it and see something else they've seen recently? So someone did a cover version of the James Webb Telescope images in one tweet for each one of these. And they just tweeted it at the bot, and it comes back with this. And I know this guy, his name's Paul, and he's crazy because, like, I can't believe, and he regularly churns stuff out like this. And it's completely nuts. He doesn't just do retro stuff, though. He does realistic looking. This is a 4 kilobyte executable that renders this. And I was showing you scenes that you might have seen in New York recently. So this kind of looks like something you might be able to travel not too far and see scenery that looks like this. This is also not a photo. And just to suspend, and this is, again, this is 4K. I have the exe file right here. I could like run it and wait a minute for it to render it. But like, but if you really want to blow your own mind or something like that, this is not a photo. He's got like imperfections in the floppy disk. You can tell it's not real because he sent this to a demo party called Outline, and he wrote it like on the USB stick. Like, and here's a fun Easter egg. You see the line printer printout? This is actually the shader code that renders this inside. And he blurred it out and made it look like a printout. It's just completely fucking crazy. So this dude has some competition because this is an actual category that you can compete in a demo party. So this right here, I mean, like, this is beautiful, right? This got 3rd place. That means there are 2 of these that people thought were better than this. And those are this one. This one is by YX. Is This Your Card, I believe. And the next one is PBR, and I totally I'm just spacing out on the name of this demo, or, you know, executable graphics. This one's a little bit more fantasy than photo, but a kind of suspension of disbelief here in the real world. Just amazing artwork in 4 kilobytes. It's just nuts. So that is the end of the slides that I have. I have a couple other demos in here. I wanted to see how much time I would have at the end of the presentation. I think I have like 5-10 minutes at most. There is something going on in here at 1, right? I'm getting shrugs. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to run demos until someone kicks me off of the stage, which is actually how this worked in 2018. I want to show you some cool hacker-relevant stuff. One that I think that you'll really like is this one. Do we still have Amiga fans in the house? I lost all my Amiga. I have a half of an Amiga fan. I have a constipated Amiga fan. All right. So this is a 64 kilobyte. They call it an intro just because it's small. But this is something on the Amiga. And it's 64K. And I think this will resonate with some people. takes time to load, okay? Everyone has their favorite fake hacker OS. I think this one might be mine.
Hey man, I found another interesting signal, but it totally crashed my machine. I have no idea what's going on. Can you see if you can find it?
Y'all notice what time the demo started at, right? 13:37. Uh-oh. This is his greets. Focus Design, Black Lotus, Loonies. These are all of the groups that he's shouting out secretly. It's pretty cool for 64K, I think. Another very weird, so there's a category called wild where you just enter anything that you can enter because it doesn't necessarily fit a mold. I was really fascinated by this one, which is called Lotto, and it's by a group called Nupo. This guy had a previous demo of this where he built a handheld LiDAR that you could just kind of walk around things, and he don't ask me why, I have no idea. He has a random ass toilet in his front yard and walks around it with his handheld LiDAR and 3D scans it and then can do stuff with it. He decided that he would level this up a little bit, and he builds a LiDAR into a wagon cart and drives it around this barn and into the barn, and then takes all of the point field data and makes a demo with it. And so this is that. And actually, we can see exactly how big this demo is. So it's not small. He's got a lot of data that he has to get in there. But when you see what he did, I think you'll find it much more interesting. And there's, there's an artistic and music aspect and surreal aspect. And this is just written in a game engine, so it goes to show that not everyone that writes a demo knows assembler or whatever, and they can still do something that's kind of cool with all of the data that they have. So if you think, oh shit, I don't write, assembler for the Commodore 64 or whatever, I can't make a demo, you can still do cool stuff and submit it to demo parties, and people pick it up and love it. Real image, fake image, fade back and forth just to, And there's his rig. This is just neat. Who was it again that came in like a wrecking ball or something like that? You don't have to answer that. And kids, that's what happens if you vote for the wrong person this upcoming election. Give you another one. These two are requested by my partner, who I cannot see, but is sitting back there somewhere. This one is 64K and just a little bit different. I can't even see how many people are still in here. Y'all into this? You want to watch another live demo? Have a little bit of feeling while you're there? Or let's do a little choose your own adventure. You want to see something really exotic? Choices. Live exotic. Exotic, all right. So here we have a Commodore 64 demo.
My name is Matthias Kram.
Oops, and that is happening on the wrong display. Some of you have seen this, don't spoil it.
You may also know me as Quiz of Reflex. And this is a standard C64 computer setup. Monitor, floppy drive, and
Also,
main
this
computer.
is like,
I'm now going to remove one of these components and then play a demo on what is left. As you can see, I've already loaded a program. And the program didn't do anything except install a driver on the floppy drive. We can now remove the C64 since we don't need it anymore.
so you're expecting him to load a demo and then disconnect the floppy drive, but
This
there
leaves
goes
us
the
with a
Commodore
video cable and a
64.
serial cable. Our floppy drive has two output lines, data and clock. We want clock directly connected to the video signal, and we'll put a resistor before data. This enables us to generate 3 voltage levels, one for black, one for white, and one for triggering horizontal and vertical retraces. You may have noticed that we're not connecting anything to the monitor's audio input since, of course, the floppy drive is perfectly capable of generating sound all by itself. And now we just have to open and then close the floppy drive to start the demo.
And you might be thinking, okay, I've seen all I can see a floppy drive do. And you'd be wrong. Poof. I've really just learned that people are completely nuts and can do anything they want to do, really. So we'll switch over to the live one. This is an unexpanded Amiga 500 that runs at 8 megahertz or 7.16. And this one also blew the audience away, so I think it's a pretty good one to show.
Amiga!
It's too bad our Amiga fanboys aren't still here. They'd really know how to shout out their Amiga now. Interesting quick note, the Black Lotus is known for doing high-spec demos, not low-spec demos. So they do a lot of like crazy 3D rendering and high-spec stuff on like 68060s, which is the CPU that Apple really never used in high-end Macs, but it ended up in high-end Amiga accelerators that are fucking impossible to get at this point. I've given up. But so you start seeing this and you're like, oh, this is going to be interesting. The Black Lotus wrote an old school demo. Wants disc 2. we have some audience members who actually got to witness this live. Some other stuff I have, the last few things I have, let's see. So I have an Atari 8-bit demo that is like 15 minutes long, and actually has a really cool aesthetic and a bunch of cool stuff. And I also, you noticed in the in vitro there were 2 characters at the end of it, and one of them was PS. That's Felipe. He's a well-known guy that does something called Demoscene Theater 9000, and basically does kind of updates in the scene and whatever. And I actually looked to him for a cool shader showdown that I could show, and he sent me a link of a shader showdown. So we could go in either direction. If anyone actually wants to like watch a 20 or 25 or 30-minute shader showdown from start to finish and just see how this works, there's a live DJ. They can actually use the live DJ's audio as input while they're writing a shader, and there are people narrating and being like, what the fuck is going on here? And some of the narrators are like, I have no idea. Usually at Revision, which is I think what this shader showdown is from, they actually have a very good idea of what's going on. But we can choose your own adventure again. Do we want Atari first, or we want the shader showdown first? I can show these, and then I probably have to get out of here and actually go to sleep.
If I can break in here, you are actually the last person on the schedule, so you can go right till 10 a.m. if you want to.
It's a tempting offer.
Up to you. I mean,
how long can you go?
I think we should have last person standing here.
All right. How about we watch the Atari demo first? I want to show you one more retro thing. Let's watch the Atari thing, and then we'll watch a shader showdown. Does anyone have any questions? Like, you can literally just ask me anything, I guess, but about demos probably. Green, maybe black.
Does a demo have to be on a computer? Is that necessary, or could you have a demo on a non-computer?
I don't know. Why don't you be the first to figure out if you can do a demo on a non-computer? I can't see hands, so you just have to yell at me if you had something. All right, Atari demo it is. Oops, that is the wrong display again. I'm really good at this. Can you tell? I guess maybe what I should do, since I'm just basically running out the clock at this point, I brought CDs to sell, but they're all gone. So thanks for your support. I do still have a couple Pretty 8 Machine vinyl, which is the first 9 Inch Nails album on 8 different 8-bit machines. And 650 people were crazy enough to pre-order this, so I ordered 300 more. So I've got like a couple of those in my bag if anyone wants to help support my food budget or my living budget. But you can hit me up after this, or even really during this, since we're really just sitting here watching demos. I've skimmed this demo, but I haven't run it and like watched the entire thing. So I might just come down there and watch it on the big screen instead of like killing my neck. I am one of you. What are you talking about? If you're not already like following me on Twitter or Mastodon, I'm on both. I'm just at Inverse Phase. I guess on Mastodon you need to add the server. I'm on cyberspace, which is at cybre.space. So if you want to hit me there. I do have an Instagram. I'm not a photo savant. Expect really shitty pictures. I'm on Facebook, but everyone should be off Facebook by now, so don't get on Facebook on my account. I don't have a TikTok. I think that's like a song by Kesha. All right, Atari demo. Some more fourth wall breaking here. copy, but it couldn't have been too large. A lot of Atari demos are using up to 320K of RAM at this point, but that still isn't that much, really, you know? I don't know if that was a stock machine or not. The file name didn't specify. I could probably look it up real fast here. I'm literally on the website that would specify some requirements. No, so this, there's a confusion of Ataris here. The Atari 2600, which is the game system, has no frame buffer, definitely does not have tiles, only has 128 bytes of RAM. The Atari computer usually comes stock with, say, I mean, an Atari 400 had 16K, an Atari 800 had 48K, 800 XL would have 64K. The 130 XE would have 128K. And this totally has a frame buffer, and you know, the sound chip is much better, as you can hear. You know, you have more than 32 notes, and they're not terribly dissonant. So the Atari, when someone says Atari 8-bit, they're referring to the computer line, and when they say Atari 2600 or TIA or VCS, they're specifically referring to the 2600. Okay, I got you. I just missed that. Yeah, no problem. So yeah, that was ain't nobody writing Doom for the 2600 and not making it look like that. But that still is an impressive feat, actually. All things considered, the Atari 8-bit computer is still only a 1.79 megahertz 6502. So like having a raycasting engine on it is like insane. They did some pretty amazing stuff with that hardware. So we have a shader showdown that should be watched. And
so Blacko, tell us a little bit about your previous round. How stressful was it?
So these are
Did you
people
get the anti-cores
writing shaders against each other, and you'll see the person's name called out in the corner. Every once in a while, they'll zoom out and show you both of their screens.
I didn't want to bog down my computer too much.
Every time they hit save on a shader,
I'll definitely watch it back.
it renders the shader.
Anti-Cores shader file.
So one of the things that people will do is
I didn't have much time last
not
night
hit save while they write a whole bunch of code, and then use it as kind of a clincher moment.
And I just sort of
and you'll see
crammed.
that.
I watched like.
So anyway, I'll let this run. You can see, you know, all the people that this is from revision 2021.
When did you come up with the idea for the Pac-Man?
Yeah. So this was entirely online. Everyone was being a commentator over Discord and whatever.
And I did a Pac-Man themed thing back then. So it was sort of like pulling from what I already had done, I guess, going back. But
with diffusion now.
And I was very happy.
Had you ever done action diffusion stuff before, or?
No.
Okay.
Awesome for the first time.
How stressful was that to try to test that out?
It was very stressful. I stood in my bedroom and I sort of sung to myself what the formulas were so I could remember it. Oh wow, we got a sphere already on Pluton side.
We have a sphere.
We're both already in it, like immediately as you started coding. This is going to be rough. Both had great effects yesterday. I mean, this is going to be a good battle.
I'm very excited to see what Evil comes up with, because Evil, we saw that giant pyramid and the entire like castle around it and mountains and just a full city. And with 14, we had more of a story-driven idea of like I guess a glowing cube going off on a quest, I would say.
We put it all away. Going to the bathroom at revision.
Going to the bathroom. It's a very long tunnel.
Yeah.
So it takes a while. It felt like a bit like Flopine was redoing the Cube demo that she made a couple years ago, but inside a tunnel corridor instead of the open air like in the demo. But it was a good idea. I think it worked really well. I was a sucker for a writer's effect though on that particular challenge. I really liked the static on his. But,
very different from what we normally see on these shaders.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to ask you about, like the diversity of the different shaders. Do you prefer the 3D stuff? Do you think that usually gets the votes, or do you like the different experiments more?
I absolutely love to see variance or variety. I think like with 3D, it's actually, you can fall into this trap where like it doesn't, like it's 3D, but there's no like, you don't really take use of it. Like there's not a lot of camera movement. There's no like, the models aren't really like moving. And with 2D, you sort of have a lot of control over like you have less things to have to deal with. So you can control more things like animation and like placing things better and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like even in the shader I just did, the Pac-Man is 3D, but like the only thing you get from that is the shading. So it's 3D, but like is it really 3D? So yeah, it's definitely like a deal where how would you say like with 2D things, like you could really there's like with art you can do like so many things.
More control.
Yeah, more control.
In the time constraint as well, you have everything is a trade-off that you decide to do, so it gives us a bit more flexibility, I guess, as well.
Yeah, also it's generally easier to think in 2D. Like it's 3D is like kind of a brain fuck to swear on stream, but it's hard on the mind. But 2D is very pleasant to work in.
It's more intuitive in a way, because you can see immediately on the screen what you're working on. Can you tell us a little bit about that mathematical function that you were using to make the Pac-Man jump around? The sine with a sine with a tangent. We were trying to decrypt it a little bit on stream, so it would be cool if you had like an insight from you on that.
It's probably the most inefficient way to make a triangle wave. So basically, it's like a wave where it goes up and then it hits its maximum and then it reverses direction and goes back down. So you can make that using by passing a sine or sine into a sine. It's very slow because a sine I think is one of the slowest operations on the graphics card, but it's very easy to remember. So it's perfect for shader showdown.
Okay, until your computer starts melting from too much processing power. Yeah, it's okay. If this card can handle it, that's fine.
Yeah, I have some switching yesterday evening at some moments.
19 minutes left, still on the clock. We still only see 2 spheres on screen. Evil is slightly more stylish with that background. But
I think we're seeing a visualization of the distance field on Fluffy's side, where we're basically seeing. Actually, it could be a fog effect now that I look at it. But basically, as our ray passes our object, we can track what the closest distance it got was, and then I could tell that ray, like even if it didn't hit the object, we can be like, oh, we actually got like such and such close. And we can sort of get a fog effect from that, or a glow effect from the
Yeah, glow, I was going to say. I've seen Flippin use it as a glow a few times. So looking forward to see what she's going to come up with. But so far, we don't really have a sense of, some lighting changes on Evil. That looks a lot smoother now.
Really, I always love I always love Evil's lighting and Evil's material models. Like you can see that like it's not, so in computer graphics, there's the Fong shading model, which is sort of the very basic model, which has been around since the 70s. And you can see that although visually it looks similar to Fong, Evil's materials are a little bit more, refined. Like there's like some backscatter behind the sphere. There's like a very sharp highlight spot, which is very nice. So
like small details, but really brings realism to the thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's something that he's been working on for the last couple of years. And I remember his streams from the beginning, and we were a lot more flat shaded and based on glows and metallic reflections. And so he's been fine-tuning those things. Meanwhile, Flippin has the Revision logo going.
Yeah, seeing the Revision logo on Flippin's side, which is great. We see it repeated, but also I think maybe she was just centering it. But we'll see where this goes.
And a very distinguished sphere on the screen.
Yeah, very nice looking.
Sphering sphere that is sphering by
very spurious.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm losing my mind because I'm seeing the revision logo is in 3D.
Yes,
so,
it is.
We are given a two-dimensional revision logo, and normally when you do 3D, you want to assign distance functions, so you want to know how far away you are from the surface.
Technically speaking, I think Riker provided the SDF of that. I'm not
I don't
sure.
think we weren't given it. We were just given.
Yeah,
the flat
I think she's recalculating. I'm scrolling past her code here, and she's basing it. She's doing the calculations based on the texture, not using the SDF. So,
right.
So yeah.
So
yeah, we have a
tunnel.
We have a tunnel of revision logos.
Oh my god.
Maybe we're gonna fly through it. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah, that would be very exciting. God
Are
damn,
you gonna hit the parts though? Are you gonna be able to go through the slits in the
No, it's gonna be like a game, but you have to avoid them.
Whatever happens, we're all on board for the ride. So if we hit the wall, it's all of us gone.
Maybe you can set up a bot for the chat, so the chat can control if the camera goes left or right. Should be doable, right?
Here we go.
We're flying now. Nice.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Really stylish as well.
Clock, so we're not even at the halfway point. So it's all to play for still. There we go. We're flying through it.
This is amazing.
This is absolutely fantastic work. On flopping screen, flying through the revision logo.
Yeah, maybe we'll see some rotation of the logo as well, which is I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, you'd think something like that would happen, right? Something knowing Floppy, she's going all out.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, Evil just doubled his chances of winning. Instead of one, now he has two.
Wow.
It's still very, well, we know this from Evil, right? He spends 10 minutes setting up, but it's still very modest on Evil's.
No, he's gonna turn it into a very complex shape in a jiffy. He's just gonna put some fractals, rotate this a couple times, boom, whole world appears.
Then we zoom into the sphere and it's a planet full of life.
We have 14 minutes and a half left, so still plenty of time left to code.
Absolutely. So much can change too. Like, some of these shader showdowns, the rounds are 15 minutes in the quarterfinals. So that's 10 minutes less than the standard 25 minutes. So even when there's 15 minutes left, you can think, well, I could, if I did a quarterfinal that was 15 minutes, like in that amount of time, you sort of, it helps you gauge how much you can do in that time.
Yeah,
we've just crashed into the revision logo.
Yeah, it's moving.
That was what I was fearing, but I think she has like a little bit of space where nothing will ever touch it, and she probably
except for the one little spip. There's one spip that we crash into. Oh, there it moves, it rotates.
This is so good.
Flopping, god
rotating revision logos. I love to see it.
It reminds me of lockpicking by some reason. Like I imagine all those things to be like.
It does. It feels like we're hacking the mainframe.
It is, but it's so, and again, like absolutely two pros coding on the screen because it looks so professional.
Blackhole, a question for you.
Come on, PS!
Do not ask me a question at this moment.
Yeah, no. Oh, look at Evil.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Oh wow, Sierpinski style sphere duplication. That's very cool. So Sierpinski is a type of fractal.
And the sphere is moving? I saw it moving.
Yeah, I think it was
jiggling
moving
a little bit. Did I hallucinate?
No, I saw that as well. Although I did not even edible.
So the question that I had for Blackhole was, who would you prefer to have in the final against you? Flopine or Evil? Do you have a favorite?
I'm trying to remember who I've gone up against before, because I've gone up against Evil and I was destroyed. So
do you want a rematch, or do you just want to win?
I'm absolutely fine with being destroyed a second time, but it'd be fun to have I don't know if I've gone up against Flopine before. I think that'd be very, very fun.
That'd be fun, yeah. Either way, it'll be a fantastic final.
Either way, I'm excited.
It's going to be fantastic.
So changes meanwhile. Yeah, you have a little pipe holding the revision logo in place, slightly off center, but she'll eventually fix it. And meanwhile, Evil is just completely fractalizing the scene.
Evil is going all out. I
do not know what's happening on Evil's screen, and I love it.
Is he doing Boolean subtractions, or what the hell is he doing?
It's like Yeah, I don't know. It's like I almost think that it's like a cross section or something.
Cross section. It looks fantastic though. It's like absolutely something completely new, and not like it's also something extremely evil. Extremely evil.
Absolutely.
Wow, look at the bottom there, like the cylinders that stack on each other makes like this weird form.
It's also we've got the isometric view that Flopine has played with. Where
is he messing with Flopine by doing an isometric shader? Oh my god, what a move! What a power move!
That would be a power move.
This reminds me of the executable graphics as well, due to the refined detail of it all. And we still have 11 minutes left. Blackwell, do you want to talk to us a little bit about executable graphics? Did you do anything for
Yes,
this
I
revision?
did. No spoilers, but basically executable graphics is like, what if we pack one of these shader showdown entries into a program which just boots up, renders something off screen, and shows it to you. So it's like, if you could imagine bundling a program like Blender where you can render like anything, any still image. What if you could bundle that all into a program that's only 4 kilobytes big?
Do it with code.
Do it with code.
Should be a really good compo. Like last year was so great, and a lot of the people who participated last year, they were saying that they were going to do something for this year as well. So I'm really looking forward to that compo.
Because it's a still image, you can use your code to actually light and portray your image, and it's such awesome.
Yeah, you can do some really like, what's the word? Like you could do some things you can't do in real time, like path tracing. You can do like global illumination, bounces, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, awesome.
So I'm very excited to see what happens. We had so many entries last year.
They were awesome. There's such good stuff in there. So yeah, we have
some pipes on the side, which looks pretty cool. It gives a more industrial vibe to it.
Yeah, we're in the subway.
Yeah, we're in a revision subway. This is the new toilet tunnel.
This is the new toilet tunnel. You have to jump down it and not hit the spokes.
Oh my god.
Revision logo. And only Ben can use the bathroom.
Giant massacre at Revision 2022.
Yeah.
It's like a giant ventilator system to ventilate the hall with a Revision logo rotating in it.
Exactly.
Instead of fans.
Because that's very optimal.
And it's going to be really hard to vote though.
Yeah, it's absolutely, they're both looking fantastic. And that, indeed, evil screen is just, as we talk about 4K graphics, absolutely looking at one, and the background color is just so nice.
And it's not even moving yet. I assume he's gonna make it move.
Maybe he isn't. How absolutely daring would that be, that he's just portraying a really cool image? I think he would actually get away with it at this point.
That would be... I don't think I've seen someone have a still image for Shader Showdown, but...
Yeah, exactly.
If it's gonna happen at any event, I think Revision would be the one.
Yeah, everything happened. This whole Shader Showdown has been fantastically out of the box, so I'm super excited.
Very different from what we normally see in these competitions, I think.
So awesome to see it grow, and everybody is always bringing their A game. It's absolutely fantastic to look at. And
so Blackwell, if you were here at this point, what would you add on Flopine side, and what would you add on Evil side?
What I would love to see on Flopine's side is the individual components of the Revision logo rotating differently. I'm not sure if that's like feasible within the technical framework that Flopine has. Like, I did it in my shader, but it was just a still image. Like I wasn't tracing through it. It was just a texture. But when you're tracing through it, I mentioned this in previous rounds, but whenever you're tracing through a 3D scene, certain mathematical constraints have to be satisfied, otherwise you get like visual glitches. So it could be that if you rotate each one individually, it might break those constraints and everything sort of messes up.
Which would look great!
Yeah, it would look interesting.
But
what we want here is artistic control. The only thing bad about glitches is that they take artistic control away.
What about Evil's Fractal City? What would you change in Evil's Fractal City to make it
I want to see
more?
movement. I want to see movement so bad. I want to see this thing. I want to see either the camera moving, flying through, or I want to see it just warping and moving and rebuilding itself. I think
or small objects flying through it.
Yeah, that'd
even
be great.
that, like, but I would also actually be happy if it stayed still, because that would be such a ballsy move. I would appreciate that really. Yeah, it's a fantastic round again. It's like 9 minutes on the clock, 8 minutes. We're actually getting near
7 minutes left.
7 minutes and a half.
7 minutes and a half, you heard
7
it from
minutes and a half, and no movement in Evil Shader yet.
It's looking extremely intricate.
These semifinals, man, it's absolutely terrifying. And exhilarating. I'm really, because we have seen detailing, I think, in Evil Shader. That's what I've seen.
Someone made the joke that Evil Shader, the encoder really likes Evil Shader because it's completely still.
So static,
That's also actually a really good idea. Have a still image.
That's a way to get extra points. Make sure that the encoder won't butcher it.
We have a cube and it's gone. Flopine had a cube in the middle, a rotating cube, but it's gone now.
Yeah.
Sneakily showing up.
Maybe that's the cube from last round. It's come back to finish its quest.
Yeah, it's finished its quest to fly. There it is. And again, like last round.
It's tumbling all over the place. That's great.
Yeah, just do collision detection now, and then the physics inside the shader.
Yeah. Do some.
Only 5 minutes left. Time enough.
I'm sure you could do with the previous frame texture. It just. I don't know if you'd be able to improvise it.
Yeah. Well, 6 minutes left to do it. We probably should repeat what the hell we're actually doing here in case there are new people around. So, Blackwell, do you want to explain once more what it is exactly that a shader coding entails?
Absolutely. I always love to explain shaders to people. So basically what's happening on screen right now is we have two programmers, one on the left and one on the right, and they have 25 minutes to program from scratch visual. And they're programming this in a language called GLSL, which compiles and runs directly on the graphics card. So for each pixel, this program that they're running gets invoked, and they essentially just get the X and Y coordinates of the pixel. And they have to decide in the code for that X and Y position, what color does it need to be? They get some other inputs, like they get the current time, they get some textures that they can sample, they get the previous frame, they can sample that as a texture. And also the FFT, which is the spectrum of the audio that's playing. So that allows them to do audio reactive shaders if they want to. So as the music that who's DJing this round?
Ronnie is on the decks.
Yeah, Ronnie's great music could influence these shaders if the coder is so pleased. So how much time do we have left, by the way?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
O'clock.
And I loved your explanation of like for every X and Y, for every pixel, it gets to determine what the color is. And you look at these two effects, you go like, how? What?
Right?
So that's how Evil made that blue. He just decided what pixel it should be.
Yes, exactly. Blue. It's like there's a sphere here. What color should it be? Oh, it's going to be blue. So that's
I'm really wondering if Evil is making a static image. It would be such a ballsy move.
It would be.
And Flopine with her, indeed, the cube is now falling down her vision tunnel, which looks absolutely fantastic. Like it's Flopine in pro form.
It looks very Flopinish as well, like the whole glow and the bright color sort of thing.
Interestingly, both her shaders not super colorful. So that's her theme for this revision.
Yeah. Do you think that? I think that last time she did some previous frame stuff where we had this weird fog effect, or like smoke.
Whoa!
I like this. Keep it, Flopine. Keep it. Looks great.
Oh my god. 5 minutes on the clock, and this is again like it was the previous round. And I'm looking at you, Black Hole.
Oh, colors! Look, lights! Evil City has lights now.
Oh
my god.
Evil is going for a static image, I think, and it's looking absolutely gorgeous. This is again going to be tight to the last minute, like the previous round. Oh my god, my heart, my poor heart. This is again a semi-final. Yeah, no matter. Oh, and it moves! It moves! There we go, in the last 2 minutes.
Again, isometric, maybe, not technically.
Multiple camera points.
Yes, very good.
This is absolutely looking so baller, Evil.
3 minutes left to polish this up. Flopine, Evil, give it all you got. This is an amazing round.
Go for this round. Who is gonna take it up against Black Hole in the final? And Black Hole is not worried at all. No
Don't
pressure.
put words in my mouth.
No biggie.
No pressure. Black Hole, tell us a little bit about what is the difference between coding the shader showdown and coding for like the shader jam that we've been seeing as well. Flopine just disappeared. It evaporated.
Oh my god, this is gonna be those tense last minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes. So,
Also good frame.
is it more stressful for the shader? Well, obviously it's more stressful, but which one do you enjoy more?
I think you should
the showdown or the shaded dance?
freestyle?
Yeah.
I like freestyle because you can sort of like experiment. Like with Shader Showdown, you can experiment with new things, but you really have to go as fast as you can. But with freestyle, you've got like an hour and a half, so you can just sort of like play around, do some stuff. It's also low pressure because there's no winner, right? It's just do whatever you want, and you might have some fun. Like you could watch what the other people's doing, maybe react to them, and put some stuff in your shader.
Excuse me to interrupt. There's 2 minutes left.
Ooh. I'm mesmerized by these two shaders.
I think this is the best round we had so far on this revision.
It's
I'm
absolutely
totally loving both effects.
I really love the glow and the interesting sort of chromatic aberration type effect that we're seeing on Flipping side. I don't even know how you'd explain it, but it's okay.
Oh my god! What? In the last minute.
Oh my god! What? Oh my god!
Oh,
what is that?
Evil, what is happening? What is happening? The transformation. My god, Evil. In the last minute.
I'm speechless. I don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah, this is absolutely a tour de force of both of these shader coders. People, you're witnessing history at this point. This is absolutely fantastic work.
I mean, he has been working with some morphing stuff for a while.
Behind the
what
scenes,
the hell? How does it look so good? Like,
oh my god.
Those golden like metal.
Yeah.
Like when it transforms, it's just like a perfect gold material.
Wow.
And gold is like a really
Absolutely.
hard color to pick too. Like it's like gold is one of the hardest colors to pick because it's like is it too yellow? Is it too green? Is it too orange? Like
Mind blowing. The last second.
Great.
And I think Evil has a message for us.
Vote. Who is gonna go
I'm
to the
done,
final?
broskies. Thanks for watching. Vote for Evil. This is when I usually get up and do a silly dance. So imagine him dancing right now. Well, I mean, you have 20 seconds to
15 seconds left.
Round up your thing. It's both of them looking awesome.
One round. No pressure, Blacko.
The broski has
5,
out of the
4,
park.
3,
I'm distortion
2,
on Fluffy.
and 1.
Oh my
And
god.
it's over.
Hexagons.
Let go of your keyboards. You're done coding.
Hexagons.
Oh, last second edition also on Flopine and it looks amazing.
We're
Both
done
of these
with shaders.
shaders.
My god.
Definitely one of the best rounds we had so far. Thank you both, Flopine and Evil. This was totally amazing.
Iteration, but there was so much happening at the end. This
Wow. People in the chat, I want to hear some noise in the chat.
Yeah, this is
Please
absolutely
shout out your favorites. This was completely insane. Wow.
Evil shaders, absolutely. What
Back in the chat.
I assume I can't see it, but I assume Twitch is blowing up as well because this is absolutely what a round.
I'm watching.
I don't know if you have some time to ask Evil and Flopine some questions. Let's check with the production. But Evil and Flopine, if you want to unmute yourselves real quick and just say something about what you did, we would totally love to hear your comments.
I knew it!
Hi, Flopine.
I knew you will do it, so
See, but your shader totally killed it as well, Flopine. But Evil's thing is like totally insane. This is crazy.
I fucking shader though, bros. I got inspired by fucking stuff.
Fucking Evil, what a show. Thank you so much. What an incredible tour de force.
Broski, what the hell was that transformation? How did you plan that?
Yeah,
it just looked completely like it.
I had this shader done with just a city, and I thought, yeah, it's cool, it's really cool, but I was like, something's missing. Something needs to change. And then I just came across the idea is reclaim office space. You know, fuck office spaces, right? Reclaim office spaces, let nature take over. Mate, this is topical. It's all COVID, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really looks a lot more organic.
It's what a goddamn, what a show. I'm speechless.
Amazing.
What a show. I don't dare to
I don't know if we get to see
I loved it. I loved every pixel of your
them
shader.
declare the winner at the end of this.
I haven't seen yours floating yet.
But the
I'm sure
endings
it's great.
where basically
You can look at the stream now.
the coders hug each other at the end and whatever, or shake
left
hands.
to talk
Sometimes
before
that's the
we
best
send
part.
it back to Defox and Dojo.
Oh, I see it. Wow, I didn't see it. Shit, I actually saw it. I thought it was a revision video, like.
It's not a render, it's live coded.
I tried to metagame you because I knew you would metagame me.
It's the meta of the meta game between the. I think we're ready. How much for
This app.
What?
Dojo?
the
You get if you watch revision live streams, you get very familiar with these guys. Defox and Dojo.
I was back over there, like a couple of meters away. Running back.
Do they announce a winner?
Loading. Jokefully said it's going to be a battle for the.
This is scene history being written right now.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, mad props to both of you.
Yeah, Philippines.
So whoever's left, who did you think won? Evil. You like that more, but
it was
like
very, very nice.
I haven't seen anything
really
like
sweet.
this. It's a bit shaky earlier.
I am a little giddy right now,
Yeah.
and it's. I said to you, this is like already secret in the background. You turn it on just.
What's now? E. Okay. I'll take this one. I guess to nobody's surprise, Evil takes this with the amazing display of what the fuck. But mad props to Flopine. I love this shader. Obviously, the revision logo is in it. So and the glowing cube and the glass effect.
Yep.
Awesome,
Very, very
awesome
nice
stuff.
Very well executed.
So yeah, I think we have our final, which will be Black Hole versus Evil. Yeah. So.
So Black Hole was one of the people announcing and commentating on this last one. And now Black Hole is going to have to compete against Evil in the like finals or whatever. Obviously, we don't have time to watch that right now. Thanks to I think we've got like, what, 6 or 8 people or something left. Thanks for sticking it out till the end. I know there's some people on the live stream watching. I got a couple DMs and whatever. So thanks if you've been watching this online. I hope that if this inspires anyone to do anything, it's to write a demo or do some sort of like art or music for a demo party or something like that. Or at least hopefully I've helped blur the line between art and programming a little bit for you. So. If you like what you see, search for Demoscene something on YouTube and, watch some demos, live stream some demo parties, go to some parties in whatever country you're in. Obviously, right now you're in the US, so, like shoot for App Party or Demo Splash, or if Synchrony is happening again this year, that would be great. Revision will, if they do a satellite thing again, we'll definitely have something at the museum, so you can come down to the museum, see the museum, and do a demo party at the same time. It's pretty fun. But so I'm going to sign off. Our previous presenter dropped a vape pen, so if anyone wouldn't mind checking the floor near them or something, we're going to try and figure out how to bring up the lights and see if we can see it. But and actually, I asked what color. Do I have an answer? It is black cover, gunmetal pale green underneath. So if anyone sees that, that's what we're looking for. And I'm going to sign off and kill my laptop and start packing up my stuff. If anyone wants an LP, I think I still have them out. And thank you for literally all the things. I think I know everyone in here by now, so thanks for being here.